I went to close up the Ultimate Warrior stuff I was using, and for whatever reason, my computer just said, "Hey, you cannot escape the Ultimate Warrior," and the Ultimate Warrior crashed my browser. And when it crashed my browser, I lost my stream. So I'm back now, and yeah. So now when he comes back, we're going to continue our wonderful stuff here. But I'm going to be looking at League of Legends just for fun here. Mog Park is doing a stream about League of Legends, like doing an art show with it, and I thought I'd do something with it as well. Maybe I'll get to do something. Today is an interesting day. Like I said, I got myself a job, but I was going to start Monday. Now I'm going to be starting 4 Mondays from now, which is going to be, it is what it is. And that's going to suck because, well, I made myself a promise about Windsor, Ontario, is that I would look for everything as things would work or they wouldn't by Friday. So I am going to keep my other part of the promise in that I'm going to start looking elsewhere. And I intend to keep that promise. I intend to go forward with it going forth. So, but I ended up talking about the X-Men and yeah, that just blew chunks. That sucks. I just got completely derailed there from whatever the heck happened on there. And so while we wait for John, hey buddy.
I switched over to just using my laptop camera because I thought it'd be a little bit easier.
Yeah, no problem, man. No, the Ultimate Warrior destroyed my stream. I went to get rid of the picture I was working on so I could do something else while we were talking. And then my whole system froze. You can't leave this page. You must stay here forever. It's like, no. And it crashed everything. It's like, oh no.
How funny would it be if that happened and it was just some God, I forget what it's called, but the DMCA or whatever. Yeah. And it's just you guys are drawing the Ultimate Warrior. That's a copyright trademark.
That's what
nice.
That's what distributed actually is. I looked it up. I was looking for the dialogue of districity because that always wrecked the brain, and apparently it wasn't just my brain that got wrecked. I can honestly say this: escaping the Ultimate Warrior destroyed my man. He ran me away.
I believe he probably did that to a lot of people in the business. So, don't feel bad.
I don't. I got warriored on my stream. Well, I'm almost an affiliate on Twitch, right? I have the follower account. Now I just gotta get the average of views. People tend to watch the show after it's done, but I get literally once I get an audience of three people a show for a little bit, I hit affiliate, and then the show makes money on just streaming, which is I mean that's a cool thing. When I'm that close to it, that's pretty freaking cool actually. But it's one of those things where that'd be fun to try here. But so it was we were going, all of a sudden, boom, right? Districity. I crashed my stream. I was wired. Yes. So maybe when I get an affiliate, I may actually do Ultimate Warrior stuff. Because there's nothing that must scare my subscribers more than hearing a grown man going, "Feel the power of the warrior" every time I get a subscription.
Oh, wow, that would be kind of funny. That reminds me of, God, this is gonna date me. So I worked for AOL back in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for AOL because they had bought out Time Warner. And so the goal was get a job at AOL, do like really, really crappy entry-level grunt work, eventually work for DC Comics. I worked for AOL for a total of 6 months. The last probably 2 months of that was part-time just because I couldn't take the stress. Like my hair was falling out. I like the only part of my day that was any good was the minute I was walking from the office to get into the car. And then right afterwards, anxiety kicked in. I'm like, you got to go back tomorrow. You got to go back in 2 days. Like, you got a 3-day weekend, but you got to go back in 4 days. Like, it was probably the worst job I ever had in my entire life. And I was a dishwasher for a couple of months. And that was like physically so taxing. Like, my back was killing me. The detergents they used like were tearing my hands apart. So like the point of my story where you're talking about like having the sound effect go off when you get a subscriber or when somebody logs in or something like that, reminds me of those like AOL chat things, because you could like set your profile up to have the voice of a celebrity. And so like with that, they, working there, they gave you a free AOL account, which like I never used. But the best part about it was setting the, like when you logged in, you could set it to like Mila Jovovich, and she's like all like sultry, I've been waiting for you. And I'm like, all right. There was one for like, there was like Pink was on there. And it was all different. It wasn't even like everybody said, you've got mail. It was like, yo, check your mailbox, idiot. Or, something like that. I don't know.
Whatever. Look, from what I've heard from a lot, not just every animation studio, but I lived in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
EA Sports is not a myth.
It's in the game.
Yeah, it really is. It's totally in the game, and it's the nightmare of many a person I know that worked there. Right? Right. So I mean, there's a lot of companies that abuse their, and you wouldn't think that these jobs would be so stressful, because seriously, you're programming computers. I mean, why would you want to make that stressful? Like, why? I mean, who cares, right? But that's also the era of the Steve Jobs manner of supervision, which nobody, from what I can tell, nobody really liked. But he's rich, so we just, we have this really dumb habit of doing what rich people say. And I
don't know any rich people, therefore I've never done anything a rich person told me so.
No, but it sounds like your bosses at AOL are doing, it's like, it works for Steve Jobs, I can get this to work too. It's like, oh God. Right?
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but I'll tell you like what my job was there. It was terrible.
What was your job?
I was retention. In 2005, when everybody was leaving dial-up to go to high speed. So who that's right, Grayson. Who needs AOL in 2005?
Nope, nobody.
Yeah, nobody needed AOL in 2005 because like the only people who needed AOL in 2005 were people who didn't understand how to use Google, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can use keyword NASCAR to go to my favorite NASCAR sites. And I'm like, you could just Google NASCAR. But it was super hard to like sell somebody. Like, it's super hard to sell somebody on something I love, like my comic book that I create. It is almost impossible to sell something to somebody when you don't believe in that product yourself. And I didn't believe in AOL. I was just like, this is a stupid thing. And like, they give it away for free. So like, how am I going to sell somebody on this?
right? You can't really.
It was a nightmare. Like I said, like I literally would go home and have like anxiety attacks before I really understood what anxiety attacks were. And I would more than once would get into my car during my lunch break and just break down and start crying. And so I took a job for considerably less money, and this was in 2005. And literally would get beat up by clients because I started working for a group home for adults with developmental disabilities. And some of my clients were sort of aggressive at times, not always. But that was probably the best trade-off at that point in time. Like, yeah, I was making less money and I was being, sometimes physically mistreated. Yeah. But at the same time, I was just like, I'm doing something I believe in and I care about. And these are people who really help. Where I was just like, you don't know how to log onto your account? What the hell's wrong with you? Like,
well, a lot of things impact it. I was doing some part-time work at I was mentioning this off the air. So this is kind of how this worked out for me in the last little bit. I've been doing part-time work throughout my freelancing, not on a regular basis, but every so often I'd go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a decision about 1 year anniversary. I'd start looking for work. Is what I told him. That was what I said to the universe. I said to God. I also said, like, look, my part-time gig was a poultry place.
Okay.
Right. I've worked at a warehouse where I was lifting all day, and this poultry place was more physical. I am not kidding. Than the warehouse was. Paid a lot less. Right? It paid a lot less. And I'm like, here's the deal. It's like, I don't care. I don't have a dime in my name really right now. And I'm good with that. I'm in a good position in the sense I don't really need to worry about it right this minute. But even if I did, I just came to the conclusion, like, I'm not going to live like this. I am not going to go to a place where I'm going to be abused and mistreated for nothing. Just ain't going to do it. At this point in my life, I mean, if I have to deal with someone like that, I'll probably have to go to jail, right? Because I'm not going to dig it, right? I've just hit that point in my life where it's just like I'm no longer am going to be a slave to that kind of unrealistic expectations. But we all go through these I think periods in our lives where we have to like go through this abuse, because I think one of the hardest things to learn as adults is our worth. And that, I think, and to get to that point requires going, well, what can you take? What won't you take? Well, I had a job. It's off for like a month, apparently, which is fine. But during this month, because I've already said I'm going to look abroad, because the way I look at it is this. I'm not going to wait on any particular whim. I'm just going to do my thing, right? And at this point in my life, I don't have anything to really worry about. I'm free to kind of come and go as I choose. So, but I made this decision. Like, sometimes you have to make the decision of, and you did this at a young age. It's like this. What is money worth to me? What is the abuse I'm willing to go through to get paid? And at some point, we all have to learn how to say no. And it sounds like AOL for you was that point in your life where you learned how to do that.
I would say yes and no, because there were definitely different points in my life where there were different jobs or different situations where, I thought I was where I thought I was supposed to be, or I thought I was, happy with what was going on. And when those opportunities were no longer there, I was devastated, or maybe worked through some other really, really difficult positions, but still got where I was going,
Mm-hmm.
and it took those hard times to like be able to look back and see that job that I thought was my perfect job, yeah, it really wasn't. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a good learning experience. And I think that's the thing, is like, no matter how old you are, like, as long as you're still figuring that stuff out, it's not a bad thing. And I think at that point I was really lost. But as I've gotten older and I've gotten a little more mature, like, I've figured out, like, it's okay that at 42 I'm still figuring it out. Like,
oh yeah. Well, I'm 39, and I certainly don't have all the answers, but I also I just come to that point in my life where there are just things I will do and there's things I won't do.
Yeah.
And that's just where I'm at. And if it's not possible for me to do things I want to do here, that's fine. I'm not going to sweat. I'm not going to fight anymore that current. I'm just going to go where it's like, okay, well, where can I do what I want to do? Because that's where I'm going, right? I'm not interested. I don't mind struggling for something I believe in, but I'm not going to struggle for what I don't.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. And I learned that a long time ago, and I kept that. I'm going to keep it. Now, this is going to be an awkward month, I think, but I also am looking at it now as an opportunity as well, because, okay, you got something at the end of the month, right? Now, if something else happens, okay, then maybe I'm going to have to really rethink some things. But for the moment, at least, right, I'm good. Right? For the moment, at least, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll wait out a month, look for other opportunities while I'm there, but I'll worry about freelancing because I got what I wanted, right? If it doesn't work out the way I envisioned it, that's okay. It doesn't need to, right? It just needs to, right? I'll survive no matter what. I don't need, right? That's the thing. Right. But while I'm here in this moment where I'm kind of just waiting for kind of things to work themselves out the way they need to work themselves out, right, I'll do other things because as far as I know, I've got the light at the end of the tunnel. But if I don't, right, then I'll worry about it when that time comes.
That's a really good outlook. I don't know if a lot of people necessarily, think about things that way. And I mean, not that there's a right or wrong way to process that, but
no,
I think like that's definitely part of it is that learning curve. And I think it's different for everybody.
Sure. I think we're taught more often than not that we have to accept certain things. The truth of the matter is you don't. You really don't, right? Just because other people have bought into whatever's been bought into doesn't mean you have to. But that also means, though, that if that's the case, you got to be willing to take some hits to go about it.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I look at it, like, really right now, I have nothing to my name worthily worthwhile. I don't. But there are advantages to that. There's nowhere to go but up, right? But at the same token, that doesn't mean I necessarily have to take anything that comes my way either. It's now it's about, okay, well, you got this in 30 days. Like this auto job I was about going to start on Monday is going to start 4 Mondays from now because of the microchip shortage for automobiles. But I talked to the person that hired me. It's like, is this going to be here in a month? It's like, yeah, it's going to be here in a month. Okay. Well, if it's going to be here in a month, I might as well. So maybe I do something else temporary, or maybe I just take this opportunity to freelance. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, fuck it. And if in a month from now it doesn't work out, I mean, I still have nothing. Maybe.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you can look at it as like, well, you're no worse off. It's not like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's not like you've got this like lucrative position, and you know, it's all, whether or not you keep it, it's all hinging on one thing that happens, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. No.
All right. So I haven't inked her hands yet, and I may do some color. Let's see if I can get this.
I'll show you what I've been working on. Right, huh? I almost see it. Oh my gosh. The ultimate Jasmine. That's, I'm afraid of her. Like, I am legitimately terrified of her. But the tassels, man, those are amazing, amazing tassels.
And if I drew her like full body, I'd probably put the tassels like mid thigh.
Yeah. So I'll show you the one I've been working on right here. I've been playing with. This is my first attempt at League of Legends' Jinx. I'm not gonna say it's good.
Okay.
But it was my first attempt.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not real super familiar with League of Legends. Like, I've seen things like stuff pop up, but is League of Legends is the thing that Mog's doing this month, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have been trying to avoid Facebook. Come here. What are you barking at? Why are you underneath the table?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid Facebook just because, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things I like about it. There's a lot of things I don't like about it.
Yep.
So I made some friends from some of the stuff that Mog was doing, and so some of those people like reached out and they're like, "Hey, are you going to do the Mortal Kombat one?" And I was like, "I am." And then I just kind of like fell off. And then, like, because I log on to Facebook maybe once or twice a day just to see like what the activity on anything I post from my pages. Because I don't really post a lot on my personal page anymore, just because I'm like, you know, I'm not about having people get all psycho on me or whatever. Yeah, then I saw that there was like all these things on like a post that I was tagged in, and I'm like, what is that? And I like looked over and I was like, oh, it's League of Legends. Okay, that's what this month is. And I'm like, I have no idea who any of those characters are.
No. I don't play the game, but I have friends that did. It's too much like crack. I would have ran away screaming. Right, but all of which to say, like, you know, but at this point, at this moment, I have more free time than I anticipated. So it's like, yeah, screw it. I might as well just try to see if I can draw a character somewhat okay, and I might play with Jinx a little bit more tomorrow. See if I can actually pull off a decent Jinx, and if I can, great, I'll enter. If not, that's fine too. I probably won't. This was the month I kind of have to work on my own book anyway, so. Okay. It's like, oh, this was the month I was planning on taking off, but like I said, I had this unexpected time, and like I said, right now I'm just dealing with the fact that, you know, I lost some control. Like everything looked like it was going well, and then I got through a curveball today. At the end of the day, I was like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? It's like, I'm just gonna keep rolling. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and like I literally like the job where I told you I quit it Thursday because it was just like I was done. I was like, okay, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to kill myself for nothing. And I said I'd rather have nothing than work there. And apparently the world's like, oh really? Let's find out. It's like, no, really, it's fine. It's fine. Next month it will be, you know, it'll be what it is. But like I said, I see this as an opportunity. I have 2 magazines I want to submit to writing-wise. I can get better with drawing. Who knows? Maybe I can sell more artwork. I've sold 2 pieces of art, which I never thought I would do. Right? Nice. Yeah. Never would have imagined that in a million years. But so, I mean, take the opportunities I have to get better, keep learning, keep growing, and don't stop, because why? Like, I mean, you've come this far, you might as well just keep going. I mean, there is going to be points in the road where you are not sure what's going to happen next, but I do know that sometimes in those moments you just keep going. You just have to go for it and see where it takes you.
Yeah.
And if I get my ass kicked, that's okay too, because guess what? I'm in the same boat. I'd be exactly in the same position I already am in. Nothing to lose and everything to gain. So
that's kind of the journey with this comic book that I'm working on is, I mean, it is a love letter and a legacy for my dogs, but it also happened because of grief and loss. Like, I've been thinking about making this book since 2012, and I did the first promotional piece and I put it on the back of another comic book, and I was just like, it's coming soon, and nothing happened. And so, dude, come here if you're going to keep barking. Come here. Come here. What are you barking at? What are you facing? Come here. So I did a, there he is. That's one of the stars of the comic book. That's Grayson.
Hi.
So I forced myself to write the script. I got the script to issue 1 written, and I would print it out, put it on your desk. It's in physical form. You can't ignore it anymore. And so I put it on my desk, and desk, just things started piling up on top of it, of course. And it was May 2017, end of May 2017, and I actually left home to go get a tattoo. And while I was gone getting the tattoo, one of my dogs died while I was gone. And came home, and of course, devastated, had to go through the whole ritual, the burial and everything. And I was like, at that moment, I was just like, it's no longer something that you want to do. It's something you have to do. So after a few days, I started the process of doing my roughs and taking the script and breaking it down how I could manage it. And so that was basically would have been June when I started it, June 2017. And by it was out in print by the end of October of that year. And the only difference between this book and anything else I'd done before was I added color to interior pages, but it wasn't full color. I did 1 panel or 2 panels per page of color because I was just like, this book is a little different. It's a little more special, and I want it to look that way. And so ran the Kickstarter, and it did really, really well. I made my Kickstarter goal really, really low because I was like, I just need a handful of copies to sell at this upcoming show to debut it at, and made 400% of what my goal was. Which, when you think about it, with what the end result was, still not a ton, allowed me to print a bunch of copies of the book and debut it at this convention. It paid for the books. It paid for table at the convention. The convention was local, so I didn't have to, do hotels or anything. But it gave me this sense that I've got something that's not as niche as all my other projects. So it actually, it worked out a lot better. But it initially came from loss, because losing that one dog maybe I wouldn't have been motivated to actually kick myself into gear to do it.
Someone asked a tough question. Were you scared to do the book prior to it? Because because the reason I asked that is because when you have a tendency to kind of put things on the back burner, sometimes life gets in the way. I mean, sometimes it does, but more often than not, I have a belief that people do exactly what they want to do, and the only real question I always have with people is, do you realize kind of what you wanted to do in that moment? And for whatever reason, there seemed to be a hesitation to tell that story, even though you had written that script for a while. Why was that?
Well, actually, the script only got finished maybe a month or 2 months before I started drawing. The concept for it had been brewing since 2012. At that point in time, I was still working on at that point, what I thought was going to be my flagship and magnum opus book, which was a lot more niche. It was a lot more, it was like a hard R turning into like an X-rated book. It was very violent. It was edgy for the sake of being edgy. And then I just kind of kept carrying it through. And so I was stuck on that. And I feel like I was trying to get that done. I still meant to work on the Bubba Patrol, but different personal roadblocks like started ticking up for me. So like the year after the initial concept, when I was just like, well, I got to finish this next issue of the book. And then I've got to finish this next issue of the book to tell the storyline. And I was working super slow at that point because I was working traditional. And like I said, with all the personal issues I dealing with, that it just made it really difficult. It was never not ended.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
No, I just asked because like sometimes like, okay, for me, when I like drawing thing for me there was a bit of a phobia when I started, because I promised I'd do it, weeks and days before I finally did it, and I realized for me it was just afraid I wasn't good enough to do it. Right, I just had to come and face my shit and man up and do it. Right, but it sounds to me like for your case it was a different thing. It wasn't that you weren't afraid; it just for whatever reason, these things just kept piling up. It does happen. So.
And there may have been some truth to that in terms of like it was something completely different than I'd been doing for the previous years. So changing from this one extreme to doing something that was going to be a much different use of like my creative endeavors or my creative skills. Yeah, I mean there's definitely I guess it would be the same as like an actor moving from being typecast and trying to do something like they've always done drama, they want to do comedy, or what happened when Metallica decided to do something different? Like people kept all over it, but it just showed that they have range, right? We liked it or not. I'm not a Metallica fan myself, but I think that's like a really, really good analogy because they caught a lot of hell from it from their like regular fans, but it might have been one of the most commercially successful things that they did because it expanded to a wider audience. So, yeah.
Well, I mean that's part of that's growth. Like you're not okay. Say me, I write science fiction. I keep doing it for a few more years. Do epic poetry too. I want to branch out and do different things and prove that I can do different things. Well, the thing is, when I go back to the thing I'm known for, right, everything I learned doing those different things is going to make me better at the thing I'm known for because I have a lot more tools in my language box. We all as artists need to experiment and grow. We just do. If we don't do that, we stagnate. And our growth as creators are stunted. So we need to break our comfort zones from time to time. It's just how it is, Mr. John, we have gone quite a while, and it's been fun, and I've enjoyed it. But I do think we gotta do a proper send off here. So, talk about your book. Talk about what you've been working on. Talk about your superhero dogs and why they're awesome and made of cheese, and how people can find you and
made of cheese. So the Bubba Patrol is, like I said, my love letter and my legacy to my dogs. It is a comedy adventure series suitable for somebody who's barely learning to read and somebody who is getting ready to retire. I've got people who've read it and loved it who are 5 or 6 years old, single digit age. And I have fans who are in their 60s and 70s. It's definitely not for everybody, especially if you love cats. There's not really any cats to be seen. But it's got a lot of heart. It is the single best project I've ever worked on. The characters are the most complete, and it's packed of Easter eggs and referential material. And I've had people who've read all of my and read this, and they're like, this is light years ahead of anything you've ever done before. And
it sounds like it was a story you believed in. And more importantly, it was also a story that only you could tell. And that, it's like, I don't know if I found it, but there's something I realized, like, as a creative, writing, art, music, it doesn't matter. We all start here. Because it's craft, learning how to do it right. But at some point, you can only be good here. You cannot be great. It's impossible. At some point, from here to here, that is where the great stuff is. And there has to be a moment in your life where there comes a point. I think the reason why a lot of artists wait until they're older before they really start taking off is I realized this. For most of us, it's very hard to have something more same because we haven't come out of our shells and been open and vulnerable in our 20s. In our 30s, we get all that crap kicked out of us. I'm going to be 40 this year. I barely give a shit anymore about what other people think. I'm just going to be who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for just me being me. Right, wrong, and different. You know what? I'm not a perfect human being. I'm not trying to be a perfect human being. All I'm trying to be is the best version of me I can be. I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm not going to be necessarily a prick, but I'm not going to apologize for just being who I am.
You're going to be authentic.
Yes. That authenticity takes a long time to get there, because the one thing you offer, like we said, this is somewhere during this, every story's been told, right? The only real difference is who's telling it. So when I say write only a story that you can tell, it's because Anthony Chihak Soltero finally found something he really believed in more than anything else in the world, and maybe it scared him a little bit, but it was the story only he could tell. And because of that, he discovered something. You crossed the threshold, my friend, from good to great. Even if no one necessarily believes it, you're at your most authentic and you're at your purest voice. And if you keep going down this path, they'll get better and better because you'll be more and more honest about what matters to you. And that's a cool place to be as an artist.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's a great balance.
Yeah. Which is awesome. And honestly, man, like right this minute, I can't say, like, I would have been at that point of, hey, I'll buy cool stuff from you at some point, but obviously with everything that just happened, I'm going to have to be a good boy-ish for a while. And I
get you.
Yeah, but for everybody else that maybe has a few bucks to spare, where can people find this? Because it sounds really cool. And like I said, you believe in it, man. I can tell. So
I don't have a website yet. And I mean, you don't really need those now anyways. So I'm operating primarily off of Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, at Bubba Patrol, BUBBAPATROL, and The Bubba Patrol on Facebook. And so that is correct.
Mm-hmm. For everybody else trying to do this.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I would definitely like, even if people aren't buying stuff, don't get me wrong. More likes, more follows, like just people seeing it is what matters to me. Like I want to get this into more people's minds than anything else because it's easily the most relatable thing you can think about. These like warm, fuzzy little dogs that are just trying to make the world a better place. and stumbling along the way because they're young heroes, and every hero's got to start somewhere, and we all make mistakes. And I guess sometimes the most relatable person isn't a person at all.
Yeah, man. I think we're gonna keep chatting. I'm glad I met you. You're an awesome. It sounds like you're a pretty cool dude. If nothing else, you laugh at my terrible jokes, right? Yeah, right. But
I got terrible jokes too, man. I'm good with that.
Yeah, but it sounds to me like, and I mean this, like, ladies and gentlemen, it sounds to me like the only thing I disagree with him on is that maybe he shouldn't give this away. It's worth something because it's something that comes from him. And that's the honest. I think artists sell that too short. But if you guys do want to support him, the Instagram.com/Bubba Patrol. Go there, give him a follow, watch him do pretty pictures. Like, he just did the Ultimate Warrior as Jasmine. We had this really strange Ultimate Warrior themed just jockeying podcast.
I just gotta
feel the power of the ultimate Jasmine. Right. But that all said, I want to thank John for coming on the show tonight. And that will do it for this episode. So as a result, I want to make any changes. So next week's going to be a really loaded week of awesome people. And then the week after is going to be Streamer Week, which is going to be kind of cool. But beyond all that, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so a number of different ways. Hit the follow button on Twitch, twitch.tv/JustJoshingPodcast. My YouTube channel is Joshua Mendola-Rusco. Hit a follow there. I got books. I got stuff. You want to support me that way. But no matter what, stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next week.
Awesome.